Hello, my name is Nancy Tucker, and I'm the Reference and Instruction Librarian at Jacksonville University. And in this video, I would like to share some of our business resources to help you with your research in business. So first, let's start by going to the library website. So when you're doing research, especially when you're off campus, you always want to log in through MyJU. So from Jacksonville University's website, I'm going to go to MyJU to log in. So our resources are only available for current students, faculty, and staff, and that's why we have to log in through MyJU. So once we enter our username and password in our MyJU username, so we're just going to scroll down to the application section, and we're going to click on library.ju.edu. So this authenticates us as a current JU user. All right, so here on the library website, anytime you're doing research, you always want to start with research and research guides. So I'm going to go to research and research guides. And depending on your class or your major, you will find a research guide to match your assignment. So for this class, we're going to go to business and look at the business databases. So under business, we're going to open up the business research guide. Notice we have databases, books and ebooks, journals, web resources, and even information for citing your sources. So we're going to start by looking at the databases section of this research guide, and you'll see we have two databases listed here. I'm going to show you one of these databases, and then I'm going to show you some of our company and industry data. So first, let's start by looking at Business Source Complete, which is an EBSCO database. So if you've taken any other classes here at JU, English 103 or JU 101, you may be familiar with searching our databases, but just keep in mind that when you're doing business research, you do want to use a business database, because in a business database, we're going to only be searching those business journals and business publications. So it's definitely going to give us a better range of articles because they're going to be specific to our field. So let's go ahead and do a sample search. So when you have a research assignment, the most important thing is picking a topic. You want to pick something that's easy to research, but you don't want it to be a topic where when you search the databases you're getting millions of results. That would be too broad. But if you pick a topic where you're not getting any results, that would be too narrow. So if you need help brainstorming your topic, always check with your professor or ask a librarian, and we'll be glad to give you some advice regarding your topic. But once you have a topic, you want to brainstorm keywords that you can search in the databases. The databases are a lot different than Google. So in Google, you may type in an entire sentence, but in our databases, we're just going to type in keywords. So let's just search, as a sample search, pay gap. So that's a very broad topic, but if we do a search for pay gap and women, we want to add an additional keyword. So in the second box, I really like EBSCO because it gives you multiple boxes where you can type in your keywords. So I'm going to type in pay gap and women. And notice that these two keywords are connected by and. So anytime you connect keywords with and, you're going to get less results. So if you notice, with our previous search, we had over 3,000 results. And now we have 1,514 results. So pay gap and women, these are some of the results that we have in our results list. Now, sometimes your professor will ask you to use scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles. So what is a scholarly peer-reviewed journal article? Well, if you look through the results list, pay attention to the icons here. This one says academic journal, and then here's the name of the journal where this article was published in. It was Work Occupations. But if you look at number 3, this one is a periodical. So we know that the periodicals are not going to be peer-reviewed or scholarly, but the academic journals will be scholarly articles. And some may or may not be peer-reviewed. So what does peer review mean? It just basically means that the article was written by an expert and reviewed by other experts to make sure that the article is reliable accurate and that we can trust everything in the article is true because it was written by an expert and reviewed by an expert in the specific field. So in this case, business professionals wrote the article and reviewed the article. So if we want to eliminate all of these popular articles, the periodicals, which are magazines and trade journals, especially if your professor requires scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles, on the side, we're going to click the checkbox next to scholarly peer-reviewed journals. So this will eliminate all of those magazines that we're not allowed to use for our assignment. So it is a good idea to always choose scholarly peer-reviewed journals. So now all of the results are scholarly. Now sometimes in the databases you'll find an article like number 2 where there's not a PDF attached. So most of the articles do have PDFs attached, which is where you would view the article. But in the case of number 2, there's actually no PDF attached here. So what we want to do here is we could still get this article through interlibrary loan, but in this case in the databases we only have the abstract of the article, which is a summary of the article. Notice that the keywords that we typed in the database are in bold, so that helps us as we're browsing through the abstract to see if it's related to our topic. But in this case, we would have to request this through interlibrary loan if you would like to view this article. There is a way in the results list that you can eliminate all of those abstracts from your results list and only show the articles that we have full text access. So to do that, on the side, you just check full text, and that will eliminate all of the abstracts. So let's see how our results change. So right now we have 426. When we say we only want full text articles, now we have 258. So that's still a really good number of articles to look through. Anytime you're doing your research, you may want to think of keywords or brainstorm other words related to your topic. So notice that all of these articles mention pay gap, but other authors may refer to it as a wage gap. So we could say pay gap or wage gap. And what I really like about this database is once you type in or, it's going to automatically think of synonyms related to your topic, similar words. So pay gap, wage gap, income equality, inequality, economic inequality. So let's add that to our results list. So we should get more results because anytime you connect keywords with or, you should get more results. So instead of 258, let's hit search and see how many results we have now. So that definitely increased our results. Now we have over 1,000 results. So adding keywords connected by or and can either increase your results list. So anything connected with or is going to bring you more results. Anything connected with and is going to give you fewer results. So this is just a way that you can use keywords to find articles in the databases. Let's look through some of these results here that we have. Let's just look at number 5. Another thing that you want to do when you're looking at your articles is evaluate them. So what are we looking for when we're evaluating them? We're looking at the author. So these authors, if you see the little numbers by their names, that's going to tell you their affiliations. So we want to know who are they and what do they know. So what is their education or experience? And if we scroll down, here are their affiliations. So under the author affiliations, it says that one author is affiliated with the World Bank, another author is affiliated with Cornell University. So these look like credible sources. Sometimes if there's not information about your authors, you could always Google them and look for their LinkedIn profile, or you could look for their CV online, and sometimes you'll find out more information about the author. But that is one thing you want to look at when you're evaluating a source. Who is writing the source and what is their perspective? Another thing you want to look at is the publisher, and in this case the publisher is going to be the source, which is the name of the journal. So in this case, Review of Income and Wealth is the name of the journal. We know this is a peer-reviewed journal article because this article was, when we were limiting our results list, we did check that checkbox for peer-reviewed. So If we click on Review of Income and Wealth, and if we scroll down, we see that this is a peer-reviewed journal article because we did limit our results in the results list to peer-reviewed journal articles. I'm going to go back to our results list, or to the article, and then I also wanted to point out a few more things. So we looked at author, we looked at publisher. We also want to look at the sources that this publication is citing. So just like when you write your paper, you have to provide a list of your sources. If we look at the full text of the article, which is here, you can either look at it as a PDF or as HTML text. I like to look at the PDF because it shows you the article just like it appear in the professional journal. The references will be listed at the very end of the article. So I'm going to scroll down to the very end of the article. And our references are listed here. So this author is saying, don't take my word for it. Here are my references. You can check out this information for yourself and verify that the information, the facts, statistics, and quotes that I'm using in my research are valid. So here's our references. So author, publisher, sources. You also want to scan the article and see if there's any bias. Anything could potentially contain bias, but one way that you can find bias is by reading the article. So watch out for that. And then the last thing we want to look at is the date, because date can be very important, and it really depends on your topic. So if you're researching history or maybe history or literature, maybe date is not as important because a 10 or 20-year-old article may still be relevant if you're researching Hamlet. But if you're researching a topic like technology or medicine or sometimes business, you could probably look for the last 10 years, but if you're looking at nursing or technology, or if your business topic is related to technology or the economy, you would want to look for articles within the last 5 years. And maybe if you're researching a specific part of the economy, like if you're looking at the 2008 economic crisis, then you would maybe articles that were written back in 2008, 2009, and 2010 would be more relevant for your research. So just consider your topic when you're looking at the date and what date range is acceptable. Let's look at another article. How about number 8? So I wanted to also point out the tools that we have on the side here. We have a link here where you could save this to your Google Drive account if you have a Google Drive account. There is an add to folder feature, but we do not really recommend it unless you're creating an account in the database. And the reason why is because if I add this to my folder, it's only added to my folder while I'm in this database, but once I close out of this database, it's not going to remember who I am. But if you do want to create an account in the database, if you're working on a really big project and you want to keep all of your resources together by creating an account, just make sure you sign in, create an account, and then every time you use the database, be sure to sign in or it's not going to save your research. We don't really recommend that if you're only looking for 2 or 3 articles. If you're only looking for 2 or 3 articles, you probably just want to email it to yourself or save the article by downloading it onto your computer. And that really works very well for papers where you only need maybe 5 articles. You can just email them to yourself. Another thing I wanted to point out is our cite feature. So this is the CITE link here with the little yellow piece of paper. If we click on that, it's going to give us a sample citation in lots of different formats. So check with your professor as to what citation style you're using, but in a lot of business classes you'll be citing in APA format, and here is the link for APA. So this is basically a sample citation. I would definitely recommend checking this and comparing it to our APA research guide, which is on our library website and also linked on the business guide. So you'll find that on our library website, but definitely double check this. And even the database says pay special attention to personal names, capitalizations, and dates. Always consult your library. So just knowing what I know about APA, I can see that there are a few things that we want to change about this citation. First of all, we're only going to capitalize the first letter of the first word of the title. So the C would be capitalized, and then any other proper nouns would be capitalized, but technically the title of the article, you would only capitalize the first letter of the first word. These other capital letters would need to be lowercase unless it was a proper noun. So that's one thing I would change about that. So definitely compare this to our APA guide, and I will actually make an additional video talking about APA and how to cite your sources properly in APA format. All right, and the next thing I want to point out is our permalink feature. So whenever you're copying links from the database, do not copy the link in the URL box. You want to definitely copy the permanent link here. So this will be the link that will take you back to the article, but the link in the URL will not take you back to the article. So always copy the permanent link here. And in different databases, you'll see permanent links listed in different places. So if you're using ProQuest, you'll have to go to the details section to find the link, but just keep in mind that the URL here will not take you back to the article, so always copy the permanent link. All right, so that was just a brief overview of how to research a topic using Business Source Complete, which is one of our business databases here at JU. So this is where you would find articles. So if you have to find scholarly articles or articles for your paper, definitely use Business Source Complete as the database that you can definitely find those articles in. I'm going to go back to our research guide. So I'm going to follow my steps again to get back to the library by logging in through my JU. And I want to show you a few other databases. I'm going to go to under Applications Library, and we were on the Business Guide under Research and Research Guides. I'm going to click on Business, and I'm going to click on Databases. So the database we looked at was Business Source Complete for articles. We also have some databases here which are very helpful if you're searching a business and you want to reach a specific company. So all of these are excellent databases to use, and they all will provide you different information. So for instance, Value Line will give you more information on financial investment. So if you're in a finance class, Value Line is great for looking up stocks and other information related to that. Capital IQ is a really great database for looking up a company, and there's also lots of financial information. It is a very detailed database that I highly recommend. Mergent Online, let's just click on that one and I'll show you an example of how you would research a company. So all you do is type in the name of the company. So let's search Mattel. This is a company that I usually search. Mattel, Hasbro. Let's click on Mattel and find out more information about this business. So now we know who the key executives are. We can even see their salary. We've got financial information. All of this information is public because Mattel is a public company, publicly traded. So they're required every year to provide reports to the Securities and Exchange Commission. And so all of that public information about this company is available in this database, and it's very easy to find. So if we go under company financials, we can see how well this company is doing. So we've got all their financial information, which may or may not be useful for this class, but it may be useful in another class if you're researching a company and want to know how well they're doing or how maybe they need to improve. So we've got that there. There's lots of information in here. You can even find their competitors. So that's also available. Let's see. The filings would be those Security and Exchange filings through the Security Exchange Commission. So usually it would be a 10K or those filings that are required by the government. So let's see if we can get that to open up. So it's taking just a minute. Okay, so here we go. So we've got our 10Ks, which are basically the annual reports. So those are published annually, but then also they do quarterly reports as well. So all of that information, it is also published on Edgar, which is a government website, but it's also combined in a lot of the business databases, and they're a lot easier to use than the government websites sometimes. So keep that in mind. We've got the number of employees, the industry. So if you want to do industry research, we've got, this is from the dolls and stuffed toys industry. So we've got our SIC code, but there's also a NAICS code associated with that. With every business has a NAICS code, which is the North American Industry Classification System. So anytime you're looking up information regarding a company, check out our business database. This is just one of those phenomenal business databases that we have available from the library. And actually what you'll find is a lot of these databases will have similar information. So Hoover's will have a lot of the same information, but they may have also value-added features. So it looks like in Hoover's we also have SWOT reports, which are those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for each company. And a lot of times your business professor will want you to analyze a company and analyze their strengths and their weaknesses, their opportunities, and threats. So keep these in mind when you're doing research. Even if you're just researching an industry, you can even research an industry using these databases. Let's look up first research, and let's do an industry search. I'm going to submit to gain access to the database. I'm going to type in toy industry. Here we've got toy and game manufacturing, so I'm going to click on that. This is going to give me an industry profile for this industry. So let's see what we can find out about this industry. All right, so we've got an industry overview that's basically explaining the industry, who are the top competitors in this industry. We've got the industry growth rating, which according to this database is low. So this is also good information if you're considering investing in a specific company or a specific industry and you want to do industry research on that specific industry. We've got industry forecast. It shows you a timeline of the last few years and then also projects into the future. Critical issues related to this industry. What are the critical issues? Reliance on contractors is a critical issue, especially international contractors. Demand tied to demographics is also a critical issue related to this industry. We've also got financial information, which we looked at in the previous databases, executive insight, and then sometimes your professor may ask you to think about opportunities for a specific industry or company. So these are all examples of opportunities for a specific industry. Creating educational toys, online gaming, addressing childhood obesity, and things like that. So these are just some examples of opportunities in the specific toy and game manufacturing industry. All right, so I did want to highlight those databases that are very important for looking up company information if you're ever doing company or industry research. And the last thing I wanted to point out is our citing sources tab. So we have a guide for MLA and a guide for APA. I'm also going to be creating another video explaining APA in detail, so watch out for that one. And if you need research assistance, I'm going to go back to the library homepage and show you how you can reach out to a librarian. So you can access us online through our virtual chat. All you do is click, and it's super easy. We can speak with you through chat, or we can share screens or share our microphones. And so it's a really easy way to chat with a librarian. Another way you can reach out to a librarian is by using the Book a Librarian link. This is where you will go to make an appointment to meet with a librarian. If you're not available during those 9 to 3 hours, you can make an appointment to meet with a librarian. Just let us know who you are, what you're working on, and you can even request a librarian by name, my name is Nancy Tucker. I'm the reference and instruction librarian, but Aaliyah is also very familiar with our business databases. She is a business liaison, so either of us would be glad to help you with your research. We can meet with you online through Blackboard or by email, so keep that in mind for future semesters. All right, well, that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you today. So if you need help with your research, definitely reach out to us and we will be glad to help you with your research. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.